when the washer and dryer are done with their jobs, but now it's your turn. Why did it come to this? How could this happen? Because you know what's gonna happen actually, but you like to forget about it. Because, well, as long as you have a dryer, it's kind of fine. Like, you can't forget it in the washing machine because then it becomes really gross really quickly and starts smelling really bad and you have to wash it again. If you actually manage to put it in the dryer on time, then you're good. If, like me, you don't actually have a dryer, you just like hang them on a clothesline to dry, they'll probably stay there for like a week. Gotta make sure they're really dry though, right? Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing some Neurodivergent memes, again, because why not? And also, before I forget, I will be on vacation next week, so this is gonna be the last video for like a week, 1.5 weeks. I'm not exactly sure when I'll be back with my next video, but just so you know, don't panic, I didn't die. I'm just on vacation. But anyways, you know the deal, before we continue with the memes, y'all gotta get hydrated. So grab some water, or some tea, or whatever else you like to drink, and then we'll continue. Are you hydrated? Good. Let's go. Do you like eggs but simultaneously have to mentally prepare yourself and pray not to get the egg for them in the middle of your meal, or are you normal? Listen, there are very few foods that I have such a difficult relationship with, like I do with eggs. Because eggs are nutritious, you know, they're kind of like an easy source of protein. They're convenient, because honestly, if you just like keep them in the fridge, they'll like still good for a while. You know, like it's very easy to test if they are still good. They're very convenient. You can prep them in a lot of different ways, so that like even if you get like super sick of cooked eggs, you could still like make scrambled eggs or something. But still, I don't know what it is about eggs, but the egg ick is incredibly real. So you just hope for the best and hope the eggs stay hot enough while you're eating it to kind of minimize the chance of getting the egg ick, because cold egg? No. I've literally, listen, I haven't even tried cold eggs, and I already knew I wasn't gonna like them. I'm convinced that buying a new notebook in a new color will suddenly unlock my untapped potential. It will make you suddenly use the notebook start to finish and be super organized and never forget anything again. Or so you wish. When in reality, it'll probably end up like most other notebooks. Maybe you'll even start using it. Maybe it just goes on the pile or somewhere on a drawer somewhere, like on a set of drawers on the top, so you see it, so you'll use it, right? But you won't. I did not count how many notebooks I have. I probably couldn't count how many notebooks I have because I'm very, very sure I still have a bunch at my dad's place from that just live there now because I didn't take them with me when I moved out because there were too many. So I'm not going to count, and I don't think you should either, because you'll be busy and lose count and then just get distracted anyways. I love when you ask someone about a thing they know a lot about and they start with, okay, so, because you know you're about to get a novel's worth of nerd shit and it's going to be so delightful. Unless you're a neurotypical, in which case you'll probably be annoyed. Because you just like wanted some quick info or for them to sum it up to the most important points, but that's not really, at least in my experience, how it works, because I couldn't even decide what for me is the most important part. I couldn't presume to like guess what the most important things are to other people, especially if you don't know if they already know some of this topic or if they don't know anything at all, and it's just kind of difficult. So you just like try to give them everything, and it's probably not going to be organized. It's going to be a little bit all over the place. But you gotta get a lot of information, and you're either gonna be sorry you asked, or you're gonna be delighted, like this person. What do we want? Better memory! When do we want it? Want what? Yeah, listen, don't ask me what I said 2 seconds ago. Like, maybe I'll remember. Sure, it does happen actually, that I'll just be like, no, I just said this. But then they're like, no, you said something else. I'm just like, did I forget that I said something else, or did you forget to listen after I said that thing, which I probably said like 5 minutes ago? Which one is it? Because I don't know. My partner doesn't know, because we both have ADHD, so... You know, it's kind of funny, but at least we can't actually, like, be mad at each other for having shitty memory, because we both do. And we forget to listen, but that's beside the point, right? When you speak neurodivergent around the typicals and they look at you like you just sprouted a second head. Oh, sorry, I forgot who I was talking to. Again, that's probably gonna be the difference between being sorry they asked you a question and just being delighted. Because you gave a very thorough answer to the question. Or you answered a completely different question because you were distracted by something and was like, no, actually, you know what? So, yeah. It can come across as rude to neurotypical sometimes. Or if you try to, like, empathize by being like, oh my god, no, something so similar happened to me, I know exactly how you feel. You know, yeah. Kind of depends on who you talk to, really. When you're forced to leave your room and socialize with people. This face just seems entirely fair. I don't know who this kid is reacting to or what this kid is reacting to, but this, like, you walk into a room full of people, like, even if your parents are like, oh, come downstairs to meet these people, and you think that's gonna be like 1 or 2, but suddenly there's like 5 or 6, you're just standing there like, can I leave? You know, but then they force you to have dinner with them. I hate eating with other people. And then they're just like asking you questions, and it's also one of those weird situations, like your parents probably told their friends some things about you. You don't know what they said. You don't know how much of it is true because your parents don't know too much about you in the first place. And you don't know anything, and then they're starting to ask you questions, and you're just like, I don't even know you, I don't want to talk to you. So this facial reaction might be entirely fair. And also, if you pull this pose with this facial expression and just scatter away again to your room, you might be allowed to stay in your room. You might have to stay in your room, actually. Then, you can't just go through life untreated and expect not to experience burnout. Okay, first of all, through self-medication and masking, all things are possible, so jot that down. Only that's not really how it works. You can try with self-medicating or anything. Like, you can try. You can try it with rage. But there's no guarantee really that it is actually going to work in the long run. But to be fair, neither does knowing what you are. You know, like, it doesn't necessarily help to just know, oh, yeah, I'm autistic, or yeah, I have ADHD. You actually have to kind of start making accommodations for that. Because otherwise, no matter what you do, really, you are going to go into burnout eventually. And it's gonna be fun. Not at all, really, but yeah, I'm not sure self-medicating is the best way, really. Might work a little bit better than rage, but I'm not quite sure about this. Me, overfilling the washing machine. It looks like a lot, but this will cook down, right? If I do it all at once, it's only one task, right? Fair. I'm constantly torn because, once again, I don't actually have a dryer. I have like a clothing line, so I have to touch all the wet clothes to put them on the clothing line. You see my issue. So the struggle is always between, do I just wait longer to do the laundry and then have to fill up the washing machine way too much and then have to touch like more wet clothes, like more pieces of clothing at once to hang them up to dry? Or do I just like wash it earlier so I don't have to touch that many pieces and they also dry faster? But then it doesn't matter if they dry faster because they're gonna stay on the clothing line for longer than they need to dry anyways. But that on a constant basis, like I never reach one conclusion and then stick to that conclusion, because then suddenly the washing is way fuller than you meant it to be, and then your washing machine takes forever because it's way too full. So really, sometimes I wish clothes would also like cook down and then just kind of like expand again when drying. That would just make it easier. Okay, I swear, if us autistic ADHD people were able to deliberately choose our hyperfixations or special interests and activate laser brain hyperfocus on command, we would be way too powerful. That's why we had to be nerfed with all sorts of debuffs to keep us from ruling the galaxy. No, but could you imagine? Could you imagine? You could study anything. You know? Because I feel like going to university or studying is going to be harder for neurodiverse people. But if you could just like choose to hyperfocus on it and choose when to stop hyperfocusing, because that's also the thing, you don't get to choose when to stop or when to start. But just being able to choose the topic would already like make you so powerful. There'd be no limit to what you could actually learn and achieve, because you can just like hyperfocus on it. You might like lose sleep for a week, you know, it's fine. But oh my god, like if you're hyperfocusing, you're probably gonna lose sleep or like something else anyway, so might as well be able to choose, actually. When an employer tells you that they're autism friendly, it ends up looking something like this. It's like, yes, we're very accommodating. But then as soon as you actually be like, hey, I'm gonna need these accommodations so I can like work and properly do my job and, you know, not burn out within a week, they're like, no, can do, sorry, not like that. Like, we accept that you're autistic, but can't do anything for it, you know, like can't give accommodations, sorry. No. Why though? Listen, and also please tell me this is actually photoshopped and no one was actually stupid enough to paint a wheelchair on the like, if you paint this on a ramp, it makes sense to be like, hey, flashy wheelchair sign, this is where you need to go if you're in a wheelchair and you want to go into this building. But putting it on stairs just seems either incredibly stupid or incredibly rude if you did it on purpose without actually thinking about it. What? Opening something in a new tab to read the comments later. Actually having to read them after it became backlogged and you lost interest. Honestly, that is the point. You just hope your browser or something crashes at some point, so you just lose it. Because we know we don't close links. And if you're like me, you probably end up having way too many tabs open. I do not know how many tabs I have open on my laptop right now. My phone's probably worse, because I always just like Google quick little things on my phone, and then I like have a million tabs and I just like end up closing them all at some point. But I don't know how many tabs I have open on my laptop. Way too many. Actually, let me check. Hang on. Okay, I have 37 tabs open on my computer right now. 35 of which are links to various YouTube videos that I haven't watched, but I was like, ooh, this sounds like a fun video to watch, and opened it. One is a fanfiction tab, and one is the tab to my OneDrive, which surprisingly doesn't have any other, like, Excel spreadsheets or something open right now, so I don't know what happened there, but it surprises me. Autistic people finding the most fricked up ship for their comfort shower game. What do you expect? Like, what do you expect? Like, there are very few people that aren't traumatized, probably in general, but there are very few autistic people that don't end up traumatized. So, having something that's just like super wholesome isn't gonna tickle your brain. It might not tickle your brain anyway, because it's too common. So, you know, so having something like any of these seems fair. My comfort show is probably still Doctor Who. which just tickles my brain the right way, because honestly, like, all the episodes are just like wildly different, because you can kind of do anything in Doctor Who, and it's just, you never really know what to expect, but then you also just remember which episodes you can always go back to because they were like the best in your mind, you know, so that. But you know, pick whatever works for you. I really don't care if other people think it's messed up or whatever, or weird. Just, who cares? So yeah, I'm autistic. You don't look autistic. Okay, hang on, let me just, is this better? Is this what you were expecting? You didn't transform into a 4-year-old boy who likes trains and doesn't really talk, but you know, this is close enough, I guess. Like, listen, what? That's the thing, people have no idea what autism actually looks like, so them going around being like, oh, but you don't look autistic, it's almost so strange. It's just really strange. Like, you can't really go around and tell, like, a German shepherd dog breed that they don't look like a dog, because they don't look like a golden retriever. Like, if you only know golden retriever as the only dog, aka the 4-year-old nonverbal boy who likes trains, doesn't mean that there aren't other types of dogs. Just because you can't recognize them because you have no idea what dogs look like, apparently. I'm not sure this analogy made sense. It made sense in my head when I started this. Autistic people don't feel emotion. Autistic me, who feels so much it's painful. That's because you either don't express it in the way they're expecting, or because it's not the same thing that triggers emotion for you that it does for other people. You know? Because, yeah, some of us, like me included, don't have a big reaction or much of a reaction at all to people dying. But people expect you to completely lose your mind and to be completely grief-strung because you've known this person all your life. And you should be close to them and you should really be grieving and be upset, but somehow it doesn't do that in your brain. But then, like, tiny other things make you super emotional and people don't get it, but that's what people don't see, and then they just like think you're overreacting or pretending to get out of something because you didn't show the emotion TM they were expecting at some other point. It's weird. When someone tells you a sad story of injustice and you feel very empathetic, but you don't want to have an emotional breakdown, so you just stare devoid of any emotion. Or this. I did forget this in the last meme, yeah. Is also just being like, well, if I actually try not to suppress this emotion right now, I will be full on crying in the middle of the grocery store or the middle of the restaurant or cafe or something. Neither of us want that, so I'm just gonna not, you know, because it works, it's exhausting, and it's gonna have consequences later, but it kind of works in the moment. So, yeah, someone not showing emotion doesn't necessarily mean they don't have them. You know, the rage I feel when my hair sticks to my face after I apply lip gloss. I swear to God, I had, like, I shaved my hair off completely. Again, a while ago, obviously. And I had it short for a few months, and then I decided to grow it out again because, well, it would look so cute, you know, it could be so pretty, you can tie it up again. It takes freaking forever. It's constantly in my face. I can't really tie it up yet. Like, I can tie up the top, but then the back still hangs out because the back isn't long enough. Long hair is already, sensory-wise, kind of difficult for me. But then just like having it in your face or sticking to your face because of lip gloss or something, or while you're trying to eat or drink something. I'm not gonna wear lip gloss. I mean, not that I make a habit out of wearing lip gloss, but latest now I am not going to. Me, when my safe foods don't sound good anymore. again, you want autistic people to have emotions? There you go. Is it because your favorite Thai food went, like, they stopped producing your favorite Thai food? Or suddenly you're getting the biggest ick from it and can't eat it anymore? You wanted emotion, you can get emotion. You know, but then you're also gonna turn up and be like, no, but not like that. Not like that. Just eat something else, it's fine. You can either have emotion or you can't have emotion. You don't really get around picking for other people when they get emotional, because this is awful, and I feel like we've all been there, and I'm so sorry. Autistic people turning 18. Bye! Like, is that what people expect? I kind of thought that was just people, like, expecting, like, ADHD people to do this. Like, oh, they grew up, they went through puberty, and it just, like, magically went away over the time. When in reality, that's not really how it works, and for a lot of people, it just got worse. Like, I feel like a lot of ADHD people kind of maybe learn to internalize it a bit more as they grow up, so all that restlessness they feel isn't really, like, even if they were, like, the super stereotype of just, like, bouncing off the walls when they were a child, they maybe, like, learn to internalize it, or kind of, like, do it in a more subtle way, you know, or just, like, have the hyperactive, like, thought thing going on that, like, a lot of people who are assigned female at birth have. But it doesn't really go away. Like, how do you expect this to go away? But, like, especially with autistic people, how? This is, it's a brain. The brain doesn't really, like, just, like, go away or magically change. You know? I'm weird. I'm weird. I mean, it is all about perspective. But again, I've talked about this in my last video. It really doesn't matter what you do, or what you say, or, like, what your interests are. There will always be a lot of people who will say shit about it because they just can, or because they want to, because they probably are just bored and have nothing better to do. Because usually when people end up talking shit about you, it really doesn't have too much to do with you. And even if it does, even if they're actually super happy with their lives and they do think you're weird, what does it matter? You will literally always find people who think it's weird what you do, no matter what you do and who you are, so just embracing your interests, and if other people think you're weird, then you're weird, alright, is kind of a fair point, actually. Me trying to remember someone's name 10 seconds after they tell me. Was it Rupert? Was it Ronnie? Because I always, like, have a first letter stuck in my head, but half the time that letter isn't even correct. Like, you could just be like, hi, I'm John. I'm just gonna be thinking, like, oh, Kevin? Christoph? What was his name? I never, like, listen, it just wear a name tag, please. Everyone on the sub, nearly all of my trauma has been the result of my family. Me, hey, give a little credit to our public schools. Yeah, I feel like that might be true. Which is a great combination, of course, because then you go to school and you suffer, but then you come home and you keep suffering because your family home, which is kind of supposed to be a safe space for you to, like, grow up and be comfortable, suddenly isn't that anymore. So, giving credit where credit due is fair, but it's not always a good thing. Being an adult is like folding a fitted sheet. No one really knows how. Like, I know how I do it, but I also know it's probably not as neat as it could be. And sometimes it's way worse than other days, you know? Because some days the sheet's just fighting you. So that just seems fair. Because some days you do better than others. And some days the things you can normally do and normally do quite well suddenly don't work anymore, and you suddenly can't do them anymore. So that's just fair. The way Adele works for like 6 months and then disappears for 7 years is very much the work-life balance I'm all about. not really a neurodivergent meme, but also just fair, because I feel like this might be a good way to prevent burnout. Sometimes I think coffee will make me want to work. I've tried this 82,000 times, so far with 0 successes. But any minute now, or any cup of coffee now, it's gonna kick in and do the normal job, right? Right? But it doesn't. It doesn't. It might make you feel a little bit calmer. Maybe that's just me. Like, I can never tell. Like, sometimes it doesn't do anything at all. Sometimes it actually does make me feel a little bit calmer, but maybe that's just because I'm focusing on drinking the coffee and not anything else. But I don't know what it is, but it's never made me, like, be more alert and productive and motivated. It's never done that. But it might. You never know, so keep trying. Neurodivergence, what does that mean? What does fold in the cheese mean? Neurotypicals, you fold it in. I know it says fold it in. But when someone asks, like, what does that mean? Don't just say those exact words again. Like, they obviously don't know what it means, that's why they're asking. So, you either, like, explain it, like, another way, or you're just like, hey, let me just show you. Or something, but like just saying those exact words again isn't gonna help. This has never helped anyone. Crip tip. My mom's best thing she ever taught me is to use the football to your advantage. Every time there's an England game, do all the stuff that's awful when it's full of people, like IKEA, Big Tesco, Garden Center, beach, hiking, tech store, museum, gallery, cinema. Incredibly valid for physical disabilities, obviously. Yes, because the less people in your way, the more you're able to, like, get around and have things actually be accessible that are technically accessible, but there's just too many people in the way. But also, if you're autistic or if you have anxiety and just get, like, super anxious to go into crowded places, this is still gonna be a very helpful tip. Which is literally why I'm kind of hoping that Germany doesn't, like, get kicked out of the football league, because as long as they're playing, I can go to the gym in peace, right? So I'm kind of hoping they stay in it for a long time, but I never know when games are because I keep forgetting about it and just going in the morning anyway. But, you know, actually utilize this tip, please. Don't be like me and forget about it. It feels like everyone else got a manual on how to be a person, and I didn't. Every undiagnosed autistic person. I know I saw that manual on how to be a person somewhere, but I never got around to reading it, and now it's gone forever. Every undiagnosed ADHD person. I know I put it in a safe place. Like, I saw it, but now it's gone forever. But kind of, yeah. Because if you, like, distinctly remember all your life just kind of being like, no, this doesn't seem to be right. People are, like, always looking at me weirdly if I just, like, do things or say things. So just kind of, like, start mirroring the person who you think is really cool, but also, like, simultaneously seems to be, like, very well liked by a lot of other people. Without even, like, really knowing that's what you're doing. But when you're like, wait, I don't know if it's okay if I do this thing. And you just kind of, like, look at what the other person's doing and they're doing it, then you're like, it seems okay to do it, so I can do it too. But then you're still anxious about it and don't do it anyways. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like it isn't. When you're an introvert, but someone asks if you want a coffee. I do, but I don't want to. I do. I really do. Because honestly, I just like drinking coffee. Again, it's never helped me be more awake. You know, but anyways. Fair. Like, if you want to win over someone and you know they like coffee, or you know they like boba, or you know they like tea or whatever, kind of just, like, using that as a way to kind of get them to talk to you might actually work. Person having a normal conversation with me. Brain. That reminds me of a song. You should sing it as a response. And once again, if you're just talking to other neurodivergent people, they're probably not gonna be mad or even surprised, really. They're just gonna be like, no, I heard it as I said it. I was thinking of that song too. I didn't start singing, but I'm glad you did. So find the right people to have normal conversations with, and also the normal conversation for you two is gonna look wildly different than normal conversations for other people. For my next trick, I will spend 4 hours cooking a meal that the recipe says should only take me 30 minutes. Yeah, because you keep misplacing things, and you keep having to Google what fold in the cheese means, because these instructions in like cookbooks or recipes are sometimes absolute. They're just, and they just like keep back, like you read the instructions, but then you keep having to reread all the steps because, wait, what's next? What did I already do the step? Hang on. No, I think I did the step. Okay, but what was next? Was it this step or was it the other step? The reading alone will take you like at least double the time. So yeah, me trying to estimate how long I will take to cook something doesn't work. It doesn't work. Does it work with other things? No, but especially cooking seems to be worse somehow. My 7-year-old just accidentally called neurotypicals neurodifficults, and I will be using that word whenever I meet a willfully ableist neurotypical from now on. Yes. Using this for every neurotypical? No. No, obviously not. Like, that's just their brain. We just have a different brain. Like, we're not gonna come for that, but if they're just like trying to ignore that people's brains are different and try to but you just need to pull yourself together. Like, stop using this as an excuse. Like, this is just an excuse. You're trying to make excuses. You're not trying to like explain. I don't care what you say. You're just, those type of people. So then neurodifficult would just be very appropriate. Neurotypicals be like, why would you believe exactly what I told you? When I was younger, people called me gullible, but I was like, am I supposed to expect you just to lie to me? I'm the dummy because you lied to me? Apparently, you're also the dummy if you don't lie to people. But you're also the dummy if you lie to people and then get caught. So, honestly, just you don't have to play that game with the neurotypicals. You don't have to. And you might not always, or like even if you decide to play that game with the neurotypicals, you might not do it well. Because that's just me, because now I'm just paranoid that everyone's going to be lying at any given time, but I can't really tell. And so it's difficult. So then as soon as I know someone has lied to me, or lied to someone I care about, then it's just absolutely difficult to trust these people because, well, they lied before, they're probably gonna do it again, so I'm just not gonna like this person anymore. But maybe that's just me. I have to start eating healthier. Also me feeling even the slightest amount of stress. I mean, I recently read that like eating disorders are way more rampant for trans people, but it would also kind of track if it is more rampant for neurodivergent people. But anyways, this is just one of the absolutely incredible coping mechanisms, I feel like. It's a little bit like self-medicating, only different, really, because if that's your way to make yourself feel calm, or to avoid feeling, or to calm yourself down when you're stressed, it's great that it works, but it will kind of still lead to problems in the long run, so yeah. I'm not saying get into it. I'm not saying I'm not still prone to actually do it, but we're all just hamsters. Listen, I'm just a hamster over here, apparently, like in this picture. That's okay, I guess. Anyways, that was all the memes I have for today. I actually managed to get through them all. I'm gonna find some on my phone from like a half a year ago that I somehow managed to ignore and not put in the folder, but you know, that's all the memes I have for now. Once again, I'll be back at some point, you know, let's just say 1.5 weeks. Maybe I'm back sooner, maybe 1.5 weeks. I don't know yet, but I'll be back. So I hope you enjoyed the memes, and I'll see you then.